What is up and what is happening? My name is Jackson and welcome into the kitchen of the Fantasy Chefs podcast. It's been so long since I've been on. Nice to be back in your lives and check out some playoff NFL football. But before we get to that, we got a couple courses to get to with this episode. Man, it's such an exciting week. As a whole, we get to see, unfortunately, we get to see Big Ben, but we get to see a lot of other great teams go at it. Please do not forget to check us out on Twitter at the fantasy_chefs and fantasychefs.com. Also, please rate and review on whatever platform that you feel comfortable with and that you're hearing this on. It always helps. So, let's get to it. Walking in, we got course number one. I'm going to hand out a little bit of a few awards to some big names. I'm sure a lot of you will already probably know who a few of these awards are going to be handed out to. Probably already have them in your head. Followed by course number two, just another Manic Monday. This is a Tuesday, but following up the Monday where if you're going to get fired in the NFL, you would have gotten fired. And sure enough, we've got about 6 vacant head coaching positions. 4 should be actually available. And then we'll finish it up with a little bit of a couple sponsors and a couple of ideas of quarterbacks moving forward and have a fun one. So let's go back to course number 1. We got the fantasy MVPs from the Fantasy Chefs. To no surprise, we'll go ahead and get to the main man himself. Let that resonate for a minute. Mr. Cooper Kupp is this year's fantasy MVP, most valuable player. None of you are surprised. It's okay. I'm not either. But I want to get into the great season that this man has had. As you know, Cooper Kupp put up one of the most high-performing seasons of all time at really any position statistically. I know we added a game. We're at 17, so a lot of these numbers, I'm sure some people are going to feel some type of way about. And honestly, that's okay. I think that even Hall of Fame voters will understand, maybe there's going to be more 2,000-yard rushers. Hell, this guy almost had 2,000 yards receiving, which is just insane. He was so close to a few of those records, getting less than 100 to getting Calvin Johnson's record. He only needed 3 to 4 more receptions to beat Michael Thomas's slant boy record for most receptions in a season. Because let's be real, that's a fugazi record with the average depth of target was probably 6 yards a target. Not to take anything away from Drew Brees, just saying. Cooper Kupp statistically has put up the second best PPR performance in history of fantasy football. Let's think to ourselves, who would have had a bigger season than Cooper Kupp this year statistically? Because the man had touchdowns, the receptions, the yards. It was every category. In fact, he took home the Triple Crown this season, which I'm not referring to the lovely horse Triple Crown that starts here in Louisville, the Derby, as it were. No, I'm talking about leading the league at that position in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Last time that had been done, it was Steve Smith. It's been a while since we saw Steve Smith win the Triple Crown. Cooper Kupp did it this year thanks to having an adequate quarterback in Matthew Stafford. I think that we can all agree that Jared Goff to Matthew Stafford is quite the improvement. I know there's a lot of haters out there with, Detroit never really did much. Well, we saw Detroit without them this year with Jared Goff. Yeah, it's easy to say that it was a worse product on the field. Dan Campbell, God bless him. But Cooper Kupp, better quarterback, still Sean McVay's offense, going crazy. You add Odell Beckham, which, I mean, sure frees him up even more. He was added a little bit later. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can get done in the playoffs with Cam Akers back healthy. But with Odell getting there, I think that brings a little press off of Cooper Kupp. Didn't matter. He did it all season. This guy, I mean, it's the best performance I think I've seen since Calvin Johnson's record-setting season, which was just, it was great, but it also shortened his career. Jump ball after jump ball after jump ball. But the MVP on the field and in our hearts is Cooper Kupp. Looking up his stats, he had not one game under 10 yards. Let that, like, it was 11. So not one game under 10 points. Sorry, 10 points. And that's usually kind of unseen. But then you actually kind of get into it, and you're like, oh, well, he had that one where it was 11. What was his next one, bad after that? He followed that up with a 16-point game, and then after that, not once went under 18 points per game in PPR format. Let's just read off, just because he's the MVP. We'll let him shine for a minute. Week 1 through Week 16 championship, or Week 17 championship week. 23, 68, 30, 11, 16, 34, 37, 24, 20, 23, 18, 26, essentially 27, 31, 34, 21, 21, 26, and I rounded down on most of those to the closest whole number. Now, reading through, man, so you have Week 17, 6 for 7, 95 yards, touchdown. It's 21 points. It's not going crazy, but he did not lose you the championship. In fact, as far as championship rosters go, this has to be one of the biggest anomalies, percentage-wise, in fantasy. I've heard it from several podcasters of mainly the fantasy footballers of the percentage of championship winning teams and whatever app have this certain player. So for Cooper Kupp, little Cooper Kupp, 68.2% who appeared most often in the top 500 public league championship teams. 68.2%. And this is per Yahoo. So on Yahoo format, in the top 500 public champions, 68.2% of them had Cooper Kupp. I've heard 40s. I've heard 50s. This is essentially 70% of champions had Cooper Kupp. Now, there's the name we'll get to later that probably brought this number down if you were playing him, but we'll get to that later. So, yeah, Cooper Kupp, 68.2. He is 15% points ahead of the next guy, which is your running back MVP, Jonathan Taylor. Now, Jonathan Taylor did not average the most points per game at his position. That was actually the king, Derrick Henry. But Derrick Henry's been out for some time. Thank God the Titans got the number 1 overall seed because Derrick Henry deserves to be in the playoffs. I think we, as fantasy players and fans of football, deserve to see him in the actual playoffs. The Colts couldn't get it done. I don't want to settle too much on what they had to do to not get it done, but they got their ass whipped by the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence looked like the first overall pick in that game, and Carson Wentz looked like the Carson Wentz we've seen before, which is very vague. That can be greatness, always heard about the MVP caliber season he had. Did he win it? No, he didn't win it. So it doesn't matter if he played MVP caliber or not. You win the award or you don't win the award. But that's for another day, another time. We'll have plenty of time to get into quarterbacks later in this year or these next couple months leading up to the draft and leading up into free agency, which I am stoked about. But Jonathan Taylor, even though they didn't make the playoffs, if you had Jonathan Taylor, you made the playoffs in your fantasy league. He didn't win you the last couple weeks, but he didn't really lose them for you either. Jonathan Taylor had just a beauty of a season. I mean, number one overall in points, easy. But just to compare to Cooper Kupp, so you had Jonathan Taylor with 3 performances below 11. Cooper had 1. And then his next was 16. His next lowest was 16. And his next lowest was 18. And that was it. So for Jonathan Taylor, we'll do it again. We're running back performances week to week, 1 through 17, because 18 does not matter. Again, does not matter. If your league does 18-week fantasy football seasons, you're wrong. I mean, I was just curious. I did not win a championship this year, but in that 18th week, I was curious. Hey, what would it look like if I had to put together if I had to put together a lineup in week 18? Just waivers, darts everywhere for the most part, unless you had certain key players, but make sure your league's in a week before the season ends. A lot of these teams that are down and out or riding way too high are going to probably sit their guys. So running them back with Jonathan Taylor in PPR format, we got started off hot, 17.6 points. And then we go to 6 points, 8, 20, 32, 29, 18, 21, 34, 24, 53.4. Boy, where were you when Jonathan Taylor scored 5 touchdowns against the Buffalo Bills? 4 rush, 1 receiving. Where were you? Do you remember where you were? Because I do. I was at Diamond Pubs and Billiards with Mateo and Jesse and eating barbecue chicken pizza. I could probably tell you what I had to drink. That's how much I remember where I was when Jonathan Taylor went OFF off against the Bills in the second half of games on that beautiful, beautiful Sunday where he demolished the Bills. And then after the 53-point game, we get to 20 against Tampa, and then 24, 23, 10, 18, and 12. Now, where he did hurt you was that 10.8 against Arizona. Now, that's not going to lose you a week, but in the playoffs, it damn well could. When you're studs, this is the running back. This is the running back MVP. The running back MVP, y'all. You can argue with it. You're going to be wrong. It's all right. You can be wrong. I'm wrong. But this is the running back MVP. So when it gets to the playoffs, feel free to scrutinize. 10.8 points. Now, I'm not calling him out as a man. I'm just saying. 10.8 points in week 16, which, week 4 championship. It depends on if you're in a 10-man, 4-person playoff team league. You could be in a 12 with the 6. You could be in 10 with the 6, which that's nuts. Playoff team league. But 10.8 ain't going to do it for me in week 16. And I know that for a fact because he did it against Mateo. He beat me. He unfortunately didn't get it done. Big shout out to Aral out at Luvino in Middletown. Freddie, baby! Freddie, baby. Getting it done. Getting it done in the My Morningwood League, the Fantasy Chefs main league. Getting it done. I just want to shout out to Aral. That's some good shit, man. You got that done. But you had You didn't have to fight too hard week 17. Just keep on teasing that next player. Keep on teasing it. Because if you had this next dude, boy, you was comfortable week 17. You know what I'm saying? Comfortable. So just a few more things with Jonathan Taylor. Just want to say, shout out. Appreciate you. I rode you. I got you in a dynasty. Keep plugging away. For those of you out here want to trade for Jonathan Taylor, that's not gonna happen. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's just not gonna happen. So on to the person you're chilling. You're at home. You're at the bar. You're in a championship game. You're feeling good, but you're just like, you got nervous energy. It doesn't matter. I've fortunately won a few championships. I've lost some. You win some, you lose some. In fantasy football, all is fair in love and fantasy football. That is correct. Thank you, Matthew Berry, for that. So you're at the bar, you're at the place, wherever you're soaking into games. Because if you're in the championship game, you're paying attention. You're nervous. You could be up 50. You're nervous. Anything can happen in football. Anything can happen in football. But, you're sitting there. You kind of start watching them first round of games. You're like, oh, man. Oh, this is cool. I'm having some fun. And then you realize, or you just know, do you have Jamar Chase on your team? Who is? Our next award winner for championship week and rookie MVP. The twofer. It's a twofer. This man gets a twofer. Not only is he easily, and this one you could argue more than the other awards that I just gave out, you could argue Najee Harris. You really could for Rookie of the Year. But what you can't argue is what Jamar Chase did for you championship week if you had him on your roster week 17. Now, if you didn't,
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad.
because there's nothing you can do. You could try to draft better next year, but right now, next year ain't here. We're living in right now, not the past, Joe. Not the past. But week 17 championship still feels weird to say championship week 17. For years, man, we've said championship week 16. And I guess there's some old heads out there like, back in my day, it was week 13. Who knows? But week 17 championships footballs. This man goes 11 for 12 for 266 and 3. One more time. This man catches 11 balls, 11 out of 12 balls, by the way. That's really good. That's some good accuracy right there. And athleticism on his part. 11 out of 12 for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. In PPR format, that is equivalent to 55.6 points. 55. I wish I had the drop right now. Sammy Hagar, 55. Wish I had it. Jamar Chase gave you damn near half the amount of points you need to average to win any given fantasy football matchup. I think it's about safe to say about 110 will win you an average fantasy football matchup. Maybe not a championship matchup, You're going against one of the top dudes in the leagues, or girls, or theys. All inclusive here at the Fantasy Chefs Podcast. Because it's just fantasy football, baby. As long as you're not cheating, let's play. I'm sorry, colluding. Please don't collude in your leagues. Keep it fair-ish. But Jamar Chase went and messed around and was the number 5 receiver on the year, which is great. Just be the top 5 receiver. I mean, that's top 2 rounds of next year's draft. I mean, I think the Jamar Chase hype will be real. Oh, God, where his ADP will be at. I mean, I'm thinking, what, early part of the turn for some people? Some people are really going to want to cash in on that Jamar Chase rookie year. So, big thanks to Jamar Chase and those whose leagues he won. This man set records for a rookie contract. And coming into this year, right in preseason, you know, everybody, he's dropping balls. Oh, no, he might be a bust. He can't catch. He showed you that you're wrong. The product we saw in college, what made him a top 3 pick, people say, oh, they should have gone offensive line there. They should have gone offensive line there in the draft. The Bengals should have gone offensive line. Maybe they should have. The guy who was there ended up in Detroit, I'm pretty sure. He didn't have a great season. Oh, I mean, you can scout all you want, but they made a decision to go out and get Jamar Chase, and it paid off. Jamar Chase, which ended up ending with 1,455 yards. He not only set a rookie record, he set a franchise Bengals single season record, beating out Chad Johnson. I believe that was what he went by actually when he broke that record. He beat Chad Johnson's record, 1,455 yards. And he only needed 12 going into the last week of the season to even do it. Also a man I have in Dynasty. Man. Geeked about that. But just think, we had Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in the same on the same team in college. Now that LSU team, that was an anomaly. Also, we're just giving out awards. This is an award show. It feels good to be back. Everybody's getting an award. We're just going to keep it going. Real quick to interrupt the podcast. Should have led this off. Little news and notes. Congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs. Like, seriously, congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs. Chad, I have not sent you a text yet. It's getting a little late in the day. Kind of worn off, you know? No, congratulations to the Bulldogs. You know, the other side of the SEC winning a championship feels good. But, you know, somebody new. Welcome to the party, Georgia. It's not just Bama and Clemson anymore. Clemson, rough season. They'll be back. Everybody, don't trip. Clemson will be back. But yeah, congratulations to the Bulldogs. They had a nice interception, pick 6 there late in the fourth quarter to really seal that one up. Not gonna lie, I didn't watch most of the game, but good for them. I actually went and saw Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man, instead. I am not a spoiler guy. If you are a spoiler guy, don't be that guy or her or they. Stop with the spoilers. Stop coming into work talking about the banging new movie and like ruining everything for everybody. Like, I mean, I'm still gonna enjoy the movie, but like, I would have liked to have been surprised, like you were, when you watched the movie for the first time and it came out that week. Good for you for being able to make open premiere weekend or the first week of premiere. I know I was a little late to the party. It's only a couple weeks though. Keep your mouth shut until at least it comes to streaming. Please, for all of us. Unless you clear it with the person you're talking to, that information's okay to be shared. But don't just go in work being all loud. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Should be a new segment. Don't be that guy. Don't be the guy that drops the touchdown at the 1 yard line, you know? Because you're showboating, Sean Jackson. Just a little tangent. But still, by the way, Spider-Man, great movie. So that's why I missed most of the national championship game. I think that's okay in today's society for that to happen. I had a moment. I had some time to go see Spider-Man with my lady. Shout out, Kara. Kept our mask on. I mean, I had a few snacks. You know, brought some gummy bears, some Reese's. It was a good time. Shout out to Baxter Avenue Theaters. Back door. But anyways, back to Jamar Chase. How you getting a little tangent there? Stop ruining things for people. So the Bengals knew what they were doing. They went out and did it. But Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on the same team in college. These dudes have set rookie receiving yard records in the pros already. Like, their future is so bright. And I'm sure we're all excited, which is why I think Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, I mean, they're probably going to be maybe 2 picks apart in fantasy drafts when it comes time. I'm calling my shot. Maybe 2 picks apart come time for drafts. Not talking about these. I ain't talking about these June, July drafts now. Because then you get on, you do some mock drafts in June, July. Things are crazy in them streets. Also, do yourself a favor. Don't get in the comment sections of those. Like, do your mock drafts early. Don't get in those comment sections. You don't need that negativity in your life. You don't. Just a pro tip from a fantasy chef to a fantasy chef. Because if you're listening, you there. We're going to get you there. We're going to be fantasy chefs together. It's just crazy to think that LSU team, man. God. You even got Bateman in the league. So, shout out Jamar Chase one more time. Jamar Chase, a raw Georgia Bulldogs, the Raiders, Big Ben extending his career by at least one more game. Hell, maybe it's a trap game. Maybe the Chiefs are a trap game. They can keep on pushing Big Ben on us, and he just keeps on pushing on other people. Ooh, too soon? Too soon? We don't want to talk about his past? Okay, too soon. But shout out to all the winners right now. Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor. Bring that back up. Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp. Everybody who won their championships. Man, it feels good to be a champ, don't it? That's right. Congratulations to you. You did that. You did that. You read those articles. You pulled those gut feelings. And you had Jamar Chase on your team. Man, good job. Good job. Man, that felt good. Just a shout out to everybody who reeled it in this year. Y'all really did it. That's going to bring us on to course number 2. Now this one, never want to, step on a man while he's down. But coaching firings and moving and shakings are important. They are, they shape teams' futures. They, try to forget the past with these new moves. But this course number 2, it is. These are the days when you wish your bed was already made. It's just another Manic Monday. It sure is for these coaches. I think they call it Black Monday sometimes. That one feels just kind of, I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of wrong. I'm just gonna say wrong. I'm not gonna say any other term of how I feel about it, but it just feels wrong. Black Monday. I like Manic Monday. Alliteration's the jam. Why not? I mean, I'm sure it can't be that expensive to get that copyrighted. NFL got more money than a person who owns that copyright or the publishing rights to that song. Just saying. It's a thought, NFL. To move on from that wrong term of Black Monday. But we had quite the carousel of cutting, chopping blocks, all kinds of things, whatever you want to call it, man. It was, as it always is, but, we had a couple of surprises and a couple of, not surprises. Started off with the Bears. They fired Matt Nagy and also their GM. This one, I think, was shoulda, woulda, coulda happened before the season was over. But apparently the Bears are apparently the only team to not fire a coach mid-season. So, maybe they wanted to hang on to that little, they got a record, if you're the Bears, you want to hang on to whatever record you can get right now. And if they, you don't fire a mid-season, I mean, you should have, maybe gave one of the coordinators a shot or something. But I guess it doesn't really matter. You fire everybody anyway. Matt Nagy, that GM's gone. You got young Justin Fields. You've got, David Montgomery is a good running back. They got to figure out what they're gonna do with Allen Robinson because he's on the last year of his deal, and he didn't have a good season. Now I don't blame it on him. I don't blame it on Justin Fields either. But it happened. Honestly don't blame it on Allen Robinson himself. I know you gotta own your shit. But I don't even think anybody was to blame for it. That poor guy, I mean, has had the worst quarterbacks of any, Pro Bowler type receiver, top 10 fantasy receiver from year to year. For years, Allen Robinson has been this top 10, top 15 guy, but yet had just terrible quarterbacks and done it somehow. He did it. And we've kind of said, screw it. Justin Fields is going to be a rookie or it's going to be Andy Dalton. Well, he's still a low-end wide receiver one coming into the season. Well, we were wrong. I was wrong. I drafted him. I still think he's good, but they have to figure out what they're going to do with him moving forward. Maybe you want to save some money. Maybe Allen Robinson still is going to get a decent amount of change out there in free agency. I mean, I think he'll still get a decent amount of change. He ain't going to get the bank. If you just repeated what he did in 2020, then he would have got a real big bank and probably a better team. Trying to win now. I would highly doubt that at this point in his career he would have signed with some busters. Maybe I'm wrong. Money talks, and it walks, and it goes right into your bank account. But the Bears, they got a lot to think about moving forward. Obviously, I'm of train of thought. You get a GM, and then you get that GM's opinion of how he wants to move the team forward. Does he want his own certain coach? He obviously probably does. He wants his own certain schemes because he's good at recruiting his guys. 4-3 defense type dudes. They're good at that. But there's all kinds of coaches out there. You got a couple coaches fired that might get jobs. Zimmer might get a job. Flores might get a job. You got the people who've been talked about. You got Bieniemy. When's that gonna happen? You got a bunch of offensive coordinators. Byron Leftwich has been talked about. You got Kellen Moore doing pretty good down with the Cowboys. We'll see if they screw it up or not in the playoffs. Hurts his stock. Maybe not. Even Dan Quinn down there. I mean, Micah Parsons sure didn't make him look good, didn't it? But, doing a little research, and I kind of like what Bleacher Report has put together for me. Help me with the podcast. Indirectly, but shout out to Bleacher Report. You didn't know, but I do. They're tagging Brian Flores to go to the Bears. And I like that. I honestly don't understand why Brian Flores was fired. We'll get there. I'll give my opinions on them when we get there. Shortly. Very shortly. But with Brian Flores, I think he would really bring, a solid culture, help shape up Justin Fields. He's from the Andy Reid tree, as we all know. It's one of the big ones. And, getting Fields back into that kind of college vibe, getting him throwing the ball, get different things moving, it would be good. As a Vikings fan, I don't want the Bears to be good, but I think they got some things there to be good. Mooney is good. Montgomery, Fields, they got some dudes on defense. They could get some younger dudes and make it solid even this coming year. I think we still believe in Justin Fields. I think we still think he's not a bust yet. So let's give him a good coach. Flores makes sense. You know, it just does. I could, I want to see someone there. They already know what's going on with the NFL. They've probably had head coaching experience. I think that would be very important for the Bears. Someone who's been there, done that, won. Doug Peterson, he's he's crazy enough to go to Chicago, But I like Brian Flores with them. I really do, and I think that would make way too much sense. He's already molding young quarterback. I don't know why they fired him. He can help go mold the next one. And then you get to the Vikings. Obviously, I'm probably gonna spend a little bit longer on the Vikings. You have Mike Zimmer, along with the GM. They both get let go. I know this was a surprise to a lot of people. As a Vikings fan, I kind of felt it coming. You have young Dalvin Cook still in his prime. You have Justin Jefferson still in his prime. But I don't even know, is this prime? Is this just starting out? Are we just gonna do 1,500, 10 touchdowns each year? Are we gonna do it 2,000? Man, Justin Jefferson, the ceiling. We don't even know the ceiling. We've had 2 years of insanity to start a career. And, usually year 3 or 4, that's when you're really getting into the prime. Where do we go from here? And you got Kirk Cousins. I've got mixed feelings about Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't mind to try something new, but the fact is that Kirk Cousins is good. Y'all forget, the man won 2 primetime playoff games in a row this year. You forget that. We lost a few games, too. Obviously, we're not in the playoffs. But he did win 2 primetimes in a row. Just facts. So you got a solid quarterback. You've got a really good running back. Great running back. A Pro Bowl running back. 3 down back. Strong one, too. Man moves piles. He has changed. And you got a good backup running back in Madison. And you got, obviously, Justin. I know every year we talk about Adam Thielen getting older. He was a bit banged up at the end of this year, but to start the year, he was one of the top fantasy receivers in the league. For half the year, he was top 10. We talk about year to year him getting older. Never happens. He never gets older. He was hurt, yes, but he'll be back. KJ Osborne. That man shows flashes. He has real ability in him. Conklin. Good tight end. We could get better, but good tight end. Defense is the problem. If you're Zimmer, you're this defensive guy. That's your niche. They're either offensive, defense, and then you have sometimes the random special teamers, which is I feel like is just an extension of defense. Call me crazy, probably am. If your defense is going to be 31st, they actually spent a few bucks in free agency trying to get it back. I know we brought in old Everson Griffin. I hope he's doing okay. I know he had a thing in the middle of the season, it seemed like a mental health spout there. He kind of locked himself in his house. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you got the help you needed. But when you're this defensive guy, this defensive coordinator turn head coach, you get these good draft picks. You got solid dudes on D, just can never figure out the secondary completely. And then the edge rush just hasn't been home for years, for 2 years at least. Edge rush has not been there. Rush at all. Quarterback rush at all. If you're 31st in the league in these categories and you're a defensive guy, I know the offense is there, but we'll keep the OC, baby. We're going to keep the players. So why don't we get a guy with a new idea of defense or a new idea of offense? You can't be bad at your niche and keep your job. You can't get hired as the fish guy at a 5-star restaurant and suck at cleaning fish. But you might be a great saucier, but you came there, sold yourself, and didn't perform at the job you sold yourself on. The first couple of years, the defense was amazing. It was fun to watch, man. Good defense, really good defense is fun to watch. But these past couple of years, it's been painful to watch in Minnesota. And that's why. That's why he was let go. I was surprised the GM got let go. But time for a new culture. I would also, as a Minnesota fan, like someone, a win out. I'll take Brian Flores, Jim Caldwell. I don't know about Doug Peterson personally as a Minnesota Vikings supporter. But we're a win now. We've got the team. So I think it's going to be a really attractive spot. I think Eric Bieniemy would fit in real nice. And if they want to keep the thing rolling, they can obviously bring back Kirk. I got a segment for another time talking about these free agent quarterbacks I can't wait to get into later. Not today, but later. Really try to have some fun with where these quarterbacks are going to go, where they're going to land. I wish the best to Mike Zimmer. I really do. I believe he has a big ranch here in Kentucky, actually, in like central Kentucky. I can't tell you the city off the top of my head, but he's a Kentucky boy. He's got a big old ranch. He likes his solitude. Thank you, Mike. I appreciated you. I really do. I understand why they did it. I'm sure you can get a job tomorrow, anywhere. So thank you. I appreciate you. On to the Jaguars, man. Urban Meyer. Was that the worst coach of all time? Like I know, like hard transfer from like me appreciating Mike Zimmer, straight into banging on Urban Meyer. But that was probably the worst head coaching experience I've seen. I'm 30. I've really probably paid attention to the NFL for 12 to 14 years now. Kind of started in high school, and that was probably the worst I've seen. I know you have Petrino with the Falcons back in the day. Not to hate on any Louisville fans, but man, that's just a bad guy. Unfortunately, your brightest spots as a college football team was with that guy. I mean, I guess you have Lamar, but same thing. But no, Urban. He got fired. At least Petrino quit. I know that's makes Petrino look worse, but I'm just talking about head coaching tenures in the NFL. That was probably the worst. You've got Trevor Lawrence, so that makes it kind of attractive. Does it? I mean, it does. It does. Sunshine. It's freaking sunshine. So yeah. You got James Robinson, my guy, by the way. That dude is good. I don't know why. They each year just kind of just overlooked, He did not have as good of a year this year, but Urban Meyer really ran. He didn't run him into the ground. He didn't run him at all for a while. Jaguars, it's a good spot. They need I think I don't want to call it a firm hand, but they need a firm hand. They really do. The Jaguars, they have some culture there. That seems like they, that last game of the season, at least they had some culture. They kept the Colts out of the playoffs. Colts, what are you doing? What happened? All you needed was a win against the team with the number one pick who beat you and still kept the number one pick. So they're able, it's a win-win for the whole organization. The dudes get to feel good at the end of the year. At least you don't go home on a loss. I'll take that. I know it sucks to suck, but I'll take the last game I played as a win over a loss. Just in basic terms of that. And then, the organization itself gets to keep a number one pick. Everybody goes home, maybe not happy, but better than unhappy. Less happy. Bleacher Report says, maybe former Eagles coach Doug Peterson would be a great fit, and I actually think that would be a great fit. I've been in Jacksonville. It's Florida, first of all. Need I say much more? You need somebody kind of quirky, a little bit different, especially in Jacksonville. Shout out Neptune Beach. I think Doug Peterson would be a good fit, offensive guy. And he's done it before. He won a championship. And Trevor Lawrence needs to get back on track because Urban Meyer failed him. He failed everybody. And it's just, I like it. Makes sense. And their only way to go for the Jaguars is up. And Peterson's won a Super Bowl. There's not many head coaches available in the NFL that have been the head coach for a Super Bowl winning team. That's just not like a normal thing without like actual retirement. Bill Cowher, man, he probably still gets calls. Still gets calls. I'd call him if I was a GM. Hey, Bill, I'm just curious. All right, cool. Well, say hey to the wife for me. Easy. We got up next. I like this one. You got first of all, going back to Brian Flores. Still don't understand why they fired him. He did what he was supposed to do. And it's unfortunate that they didn't think that he lost 7 games in a row and then went 9-1. Dude went 9-1. And you fired him. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. On to, let's stick with the Dolphins with Brian Flores. I don't know what they, we're still in Miami. Or still in Florida. We'll just go down the coast a whole bunch. Keep going. Don't go all the way to Key West. I would think they want a bit more of an offensive mind there, like really unleash Tua, I think would be the mindset. See more out of the offense, even though it got better. You have Waddle, who I believe set the rookie receptions record, with a whole probably average of like 6 yards a target, but nonetheless, he caught more balls than any rookie wide receiver in history. I'm sure that's any position, not just receiver inclusive. But so I would think they would somebody that can unleash Tua more. Maybe Peterson's another candidate for that job. Maybe the Florida teams are just, I can see that happening. I really can. Like I said, there's not many times that you see a Super Bowl winning head coach just on the coaching market, like free agency. It's not what happens, and this is the hot time. It's Miami doesn't look that bad. A lot of these teams that fired coaches don't look bad. I don't think, like Denver. That's a good-looking team. That's probably arguably the best team awaiting a coach, arguably, and a quarterback. Vikings look good. Miami, I'm not turning my nose up at it. Honestly, the Jaguars, that's probably a rough one. But you have the quarterback, right? The Jets, rough one, but you've had the quarterback, right? Right. Zach Wilson. All right. We're still all right. We'll wait. And assess later on Zach. Still need to see. But fun to watch either way. Slings it. Justin Fields, I still think he's got possibility to be really good in this league. So there's most of these teams that are available. The Raiders, I think that Carr, should stay, but you have a quarterback, you've got a running back, you've got, you got some issues, but they really kept it together this year, and it's a great storyline. They're in the playoffs. Hopefully they'll keep their guy, so that one really not get in too much. Hopefully they'll keep their interim head coach as the head coach. That makes too much sense. The guy made it to the playoffs after all this, after Chucky, and his remarks. Oh, and Ruggs. Yeah, that's rough. So with the Dolphins, I think another pro. I think Jim Caldwell would make sense. Great level of winning with that guy. And then, and bring in some good coordinators. Maybe you can pry Kellen Moore or Byron Leftwich and just pay them high money at coordinator position. I don't know. If I like Brian Leftwich for any team. I like a lot of these coaches that are out there right now, and there's a good reason that we're going to see a couple really good coaches making a comeback as head coaches in the league because there's some good teams. The Broncos, they let go of Vic Fangio. I think they're doing giving Aaron Rodgers the whole plate. Seriously, think about it for a second. They're giving him the whole plate. Hey, man, help us pick the GM, the coach. And, maybe we can try to get Devontae Adams and you. Or maybe Rodgers likes the receivers that are there because, there's not bad receivers in Broncos, not Devontae Adams. But maybe they're just giving the plate to Aaron Rodgers saying, hey, if we can make a trade happen, you can help us move positions. Aaron did say that he wasn't going to draw this thing out. Am I right? He said it's going to be a quick decision. The quicker the decision of getting, you can get a better GM, get a better coach, because these teams are going to hire these top quality candidates a lot earlier on. If you're a candidate, someone's, offering you $8-10 million first week of the team's over, you can get that rebuild going faster, or not rebuild, or, just the building process of installing your team there faster. That's so important with football culture. But maybe the Broncos just setting the table. We can get a deal done quick. Aaron said it was going to be quick. Why wouldn't Aaron Rodgers want to have say in who his head coach is going to be? And the coordinators. Maybe he likes his quarterback coach over there at Green Bay. Maybe his deal's up, There's all kind of factors at work. Maybe Jordy Nelson's going to come back. But no, that's impossible. Randall Cobb did get traded back to the Green Bay Packers. That's crazy. That did happen. Wow. But Denver seems to be the most desirable one. I think that's what makes the most sense why you fire Vic Fangio. They're going to have a new quarterback. I can promise you Drew Lock did not end this season persuading them to be the starting quarterback of the team next year. I promise you that. They are not like, nope, it's Drew Lock, because I haven't heard it. Not yet, and they would have already said it. So it's not happening. I think it's a good year to be a coach on the free agency market, because there's some really good teams here that can be, easily be fixed and worked and brought up to greatness. And I think greatness is what you get with the sponsor of this podcast. R.L. Schreiber is what you get. You get greatness from R.L. Schreiber. It's the highest of quality spice company that money can buy, and it's actually a great deal compared to most competitors. I know that. I've costed these things. But they are a high-quality spice company, and they've been serving the best possible ingredients, providing chefs with the best possible recipes, and been sourced locally in Kentucky out of Lebanon for over 50 years. It's simple, people. Better spices equals better food. Just saying. You mess around, find out about the Rocky Mountain rub in your chili, and you can win a chili cook-off. Possibly. You just add it to your recipe, and then boom. Think about it. R.L. Schreiber, people. You can simply go on rlschreiber.com, you can scroll around, you can follow Bluegrass Spice Guy on the social medias. Kyle will get you hooked up and get your grilling and your searing and your steaming seasons all ready to go. I mean, from chili in the cold to the ribs in the summer. The seasons will get you right and keep your Sundays rolling smoother than ever. Also, Fantasy Chefs brought proudly by Pop's Pepper Patch online at popspepperpatch.com. You can find any condiments and sauces from mild to unbelievably wild at shop.popspepperpatch.com. Pop that pepper and shake the patch. Shout out to you, Bill. Man, always has the spice game on point. You need something to blow your mind. You wanna have a challenge with your friends. Go find yourself, get on the shop, and get the 100X pickles, and see what happens to you and your friends. You know, I'm a spice head. I imagine there's a couple spice heads listening. I hope there is. Spice up your life. Shout out to the Spice Girls. Some of the best to ever do it. Hey, can't argue. So shop.popspepperpatch.com. Proud sponsor of the Fantasy Chefs podcast. And man, it sure is real nice to be back on here with you guys. It's been a while. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I'm sure I did. But you know what? Shaking the rust off is a good thing. So on Twitter, we're at fantasy_chefs, and Instagram at Fantasy Chefs Podcast. If you haven't heard it lately, you're doing a great job, and we appreciate you.